Good morning friends. Team NG Enabler is back with a video on very important and most awaited topic. How to file Form 10A on the new income tax e-filing portal. Giving you the background very briefly, the new portal of income tax e-filing was launched on 7th June 2021, and since then the taxpayers and other stakeholders have been facing many technical glitches, one of which was non-availability of Form 10A. Thankfully, the form has been made available last afternoon on 22nd July 2021. So here I am to handhold you through the entire process of filling Form 10A on the income tax portal for renewal of your registrations under Section 12A, 12AA, 1023C and 80G, or taking fresh registration under the new provisions. First, you need to log on to the new income tax portal, which is www.incometax.gov.in, by clicking on the login option. You will then be prompted to provide the user ID, which is the PAN of the organization. As soon as you fill the PAN, you can see that the tab Continue becomes active, and then you are asked to provide the password. But along with providing the user ID and password on the new portal, an additional security option has been auto activated, which is a secure access message. Currently, the default secure access message created is login, which can be changed by updating the profile after you log in to your income tax portal. We shall discuss this in another video in detail, that how you can update your profile on the new income tax portal. So you need to click for confirming the secure access message, and only then you will be able to complete the login process. Once you log in, you will be prompted to a kind of home page of your income tax portal, where either you can update your profile or skip it for the time being. So as of now, let's click on skip. Now this is how the dashboard looks, which was mentioned as one of the features of the new income tax portal. Here you need to move to the e-file tab and select the option income tax forms and then file income tax forms. Once you click on it, you will find different forms available under the three tabs, that is recently filed forms, persons with business or professional income, and persons not dependent on any source of income. So you need to move to the last tab by clicking on it. Here you will find Form 10A, which have made you wait for almost 2 months. Click on File Now. You will find that the PAN of the organization online as the submission mode and original as the type of filing. I repeat, you will find after clicking on File Now that the PAN of the organization online as the submission mode and original as the type of filing is already auto populated. You just need to select the assessment year from the drop down, where you will find only assessment year 2022-23. As soon as you click on the assessment year and select it, the tab Continue becomes active for moving ahead. You will not find the form here, but it's a good initiative by the department, where they have listed all the documents with which you need to be ready with before getting started to fill Form 10A. The list can be opened by clicking on the option of View More. Also, the relevant links for general instructions related to the form and things you should know before filing can also be found here. Now click on Let's Get Started to start filling the form. As I told in my earlier video, there are 6 sections to this form: incorporation and constitution details, other registration details, details of key persons, details of assets and liabilities, income details, and religious activities details. But here you can see that there are two additional sections because the verification and the attachments are also displayed as separate sections on the portal. You need to click on each section one by one and fill the relevant details. Unlike the old portal where the form was to be filled at a single go, here the form needs to be filled section wise, and after each section the data has to be saved. Let's check the form by clicking on the first section. Incorporation or constitution details. You can see that the PAN, name and address is already auto populated. Next comes the section code, where the section under which we are making an application has to be selected from the drop down list. The details of the section code which is to be selected for registration under the relevant sections has been provided in point number 7 of the instruction sheet attached to Form 10A in the CBDT notification. Taking two examples for the section code, for 12A or 12AA renewal, select 1, that is subclause 1 of clause AC of subsection 1 of section 12A. For fresh registration, select 2, that is subclause 6 of clause AC of subsection 1 to section 12A. Similarly, for 80G renewal, select code number 11, that is clause 1 of first proviso to subsection 5 of section 80G, and for fresh registration under section 80G, select code number 12, that is clause 4 of first proviso to subsection 5 of section 80G. Similarly, the code as applicable to you based on the section for which the application is being filed needs to be selected in this option. So let's select the code for renewal of 12A. The third point is related to the nature of activities which has to be selected out of the three options, but unlike selecting one of them from the drop down list as was available in the old portal, here you only need to tick the option applicable to your organization out of charitable, religious or religious cum charitable. So let's tick on charitable. The first two, that is charitable and religious, is very clear, but what about the last option, that is religious cum charitable? Let me explain. If your organization is carrying out charitable as well as religious activities, then you can select this option, but ensure you fulfill the provisions of the Act which says not more than 5% of the total income should be spent for religious activities. Later in the form, even the details are required to be filled for such organizations. Next comes the type of constitution, that is whether it is a society, a trust or a company, that is a Section 8 company, or any other form of organization. And here also you need to tick the option as applicable. So let's tick on society. With the constitution details is attached other 4 sub points as applicable. Oh, you are able to see only 2 sub points? Don't worry, just click yes as an answer to sub point number A, that is whether the organization is registered, and the rest 2 missing sub points will now appear, that is the registration number and the authority granting the registration. Once you click yes, the date of registration, registration number, and the authority granting the registration has to be mentioned. However, what we can see this time that the date of registration has been made mandatory. Here is the red star sign which shows that it is mandatory. Even if you select no in subpoint number A. So, even if your organization is not registered, which is mainly possible in case of trusts, you need to provide the date of registration, which in our view could be filled as the date of incorporation or date of formation. So let's click yes and let's fill a date which can have to be selected from the calendar. Suppose it is 1997 July 3rd and the registration number is suppose 32708 and the authority granting is the Registrar of Societies. Moving to the next point, that is the objects of the applicant. Now this has to be selected very prudently and based on the nature of activities and projects carried out by the organization. The list of objects provided in the form is nothing but the activities as listed out in the definition of charitable activities defined under section 215 of the Income Tax Act. So the organization has to select whether it is involved in religious activities or relief of poor or education or medical relief or yoga or preservation of environment or preservation of monuments or places of objects of artistic or historic interest or advancement of any other objects of general public utility. So for the time being, let's untick all and just click on relief of poor and education. Finally, the first section ends with a very simple but important question from the perspective of charitable organization, whether the trust deed contains the clause that the trust is irrevocable. The reason I said it is important because this clause provides a kind of surety that the intention of the founder, which would have been the welfare of the public at large, shall always be protected and cannot be revoked ever without fulfilling the clauses of the trust deed. Usually, a public charitable trust or society is not revoked but is transferred to other charitable organization having similar objects and registrations to continue fulfilling the charitable objectives of the trust for which it was established by the settler. So this was all about filling up of first section of Form 10A.
Don't forget to click on save before moving to the next section. Also, if you have filled all the relevant fields of the first section, you will find after saving a green tick with completed will appear on that particular section. Moving on to the second section of Form 10A, that is other registration details. In this section, one needs to fill complete details of all the statutory registrations taken by the organization, specifically the FCRA and Darpan portal. Once you click on yes to point number 7, the tab Add Details will become active, and after clicking on it, you need to fill the name of the relevant law under which the organization is registered, very specifically FCRA, Darpan portal and few other sections of the Income Tax Act might have been already listed. After selecting the relevant Act, you need to provide the details of the registration that is applicable, such as the registration number, the date of registration, authority granting the registration, and date from which such registration is effective. However, currently it seems that this part of the form, point number 7, has not been properly updated, as the portal does not allow us to select yes in this point. In this section, you also need to provide an answer in yes or no for the two questions in point number 8a and point number 8b related to the rejection of application for registration in the past and regarding claim of exemption under clause 21 of section 10 of the Income Tax Act. So suppose let's select no and then click on save. Then comes the third section of the form, that is the details of key persons, where the details of directors, principal officers, managers, trustees, etc. has to be filled, who are there on the board as on the date of application. I repeat, here the details of all the authors, founders, settlers, trustees, members of the governing body, directors, office bearers has to be provided, who are there on the board as on the date of application. By clicking on add details, the following details can be filled. Name of the person, so suppose I am writing my name. Relation, where the designation held in the organization by such person needs to be selected from the drop down list. You can see in the drop down it's written managing director, director, authorized signatory, trustee, author, settler, founder, member of the society, and many more. So let's select member of the society, since we have selected as society. Now comes the ID code. The ID code is to be selected from the drop down list on the basis of the document number you wish to provide as an identity or address proof of such person. The document numbers that are listed is permanent account number, that is PAN, Aadhaar number, tax identification number, which is usually applicable in case of NRIs, passport number, elector's photo identity number, which means the voter ID card number, the driving license number, the ration card number, and any other document number. So the unique identification number of the code which you have selected has to be mentioned here. So suppose I select the PAN. So this box will automatically become editable and you can write here the PAN of the person. This is the mobile number, where you can provide the mobile number of the person and then the email ID along with the complete address of such person. Click on add and the details of the person will be added. For adding more persons, you can again click on add details and go with the similar process. Don't forget to click on save for completing this section. Now comes the details of assets and liabilities, which is the fourth section of the form. Here, the The fourth section, which contains the details of assets and liabilities of the organization, seems to start with an auto-selected point. If the organization has filed its return of income for the last assessment year for which the due date has expired, yes will be auto-selected in point number 10. You can just click on save and this section will be completed. You can see here the green tick with completed mentioned is there. You can see that green tick with completed mentioned on this section is displayed here. So if you check the original form, you will find that there are further details which are mentioned in point number 11 to 19 related to the assets and liabilities, but it is not required to be filled in case of application for renewal of registrations. It is evident from the fact that this part of the section shall not be displayed at all when the section code related to renewal is selected in point number 2 of the first section. However, all the points become available and is thus required to be filled only in case of organizations applying for fresh registration and section code 2 is selected in point number 2 of the first section. Let me show it to you. So let's move on to the first section again and let's select clause number 2, the code number 2. And when you click on save, and now when you go to details of assets and liabilities, you can see that point number 11 to 19 has been now displayed for you to fill it up. Am I right? Yes. So let's go again and select renewal, and again let's save it. Since we have again selected the code for renewal, you see that the point number 11 to 19, that is the details of the assets and liabilities, is again not displayed here. So don't forget to click on save to complete this part of the form. Coming to the second last section, that is the fifth section of the form, income details. Similar to the details of assets and liabilities in the previous section, this section is also required to be filled only in case of application for fresh registrations under the relevant sections, whether 12AB or 80G or 1023C. You will find the tab Add Details as inactive in case of application for renewal of registration. Moreover, to save this section as it is, you need to click on Save. Finally, coming to the last section, that is the religious activities details. Now this is very interesting. First, we need to understand why all these details are asked in the form.
As per the provisions laid down in section 80G subsection 5B, it is clear that if an organization incurs any expenditure which is of religious in nature and it exceeds 5% of the total income for that year, such organization shall be ineligible for registration under section 80G.
Accordingly, while filling up form 10A, you can see that this section is completely inactive now because we have selected the code for renewal. Suppose if you select here the code for new registration of section 80G, because this section becomes active only and only in case of new organizations applying for fresh registration under section 80G. So even in case of fresh registration under section 12A, this form, this section of the form will not become active. So if you select code number 12 and when you move ahead to this section, you can see that now this section has become active and the details of the expenditure related to religious expenditures is being asked in this section. You can see the question whether the fund or the institution has incurred any expenditure of religious nature, and when you click on yes, you are asked to provide the details of 3 years immediately preceding the previous year in which the application is made. When you click on add details, here you have to select the financial year, you have to mention the total income and the amount of expenditure which you have incurred and which is of only religious in nature have to be mentioned. The percentage will be auto calculated, which should be less than 5%. And then you have to click on add to select the next financial year. So for the time being, again I am going to the first section and selecting the code for renewal of 12A. These two became incomplete only because I changed the section code to the fresh registration under section 80G. Now comes the verification section, where the authorized person who is authorized to verify the income tax return of the organization shall provide the name of his or her father and tick on the undertaking. Suppose I write my name here and then I click on the undertaking and again I save the data. At last comes the very important section, that is the documents to be uploaded along with the form 10A, and that too within the size limit as mentioned at the start of this section. You can see here the size limit has been mentioned as each attachment, it should not exceed 5 MB and all the attachments together cannot exceed 50 MB. The documents which are need to be uploaded along with the form are self-certified copy of the trust deed or memorandum of association, self-certified copy of the registration certificate, self-certified copy of existing 12A or 12AA and 80G certificate, self-certified copy of FCRA or any other registration certificate, self-certified copy of annual accounts for immediately preceding 3 years. You can see here it's mentioned here. In our view, it should contain the balance sheet, income and expenditure and receipts and payments account with all relevant schedules. A brief note on activities carried out by the organization is also required to be enclosed as mentioned in the instruction to the form. So it can be attached in the any other relevant attachment, and in the box you can mention, you can specify that it is the activity report of the organization.
If you read the instructions carefully, it's mentioned that the annual accounts are required only if the answer to point number 10, that is whether the return is filed or not for the last assessment year for which the due date is expired, is filled as no. This means if the return has been filed, it is not required to upload the annual accounts of 3 years. But in our view, there is no harm in uploading the annual accounts, and moreover, the system was not allowing to move forward on the old portal without uploading the same, as it was a mandatory attachment. However, on the new portal, this document is not mandatory, and so one can avoid attaching the annual accounts if they wish to do so. Once all the sections are completely filled and green tick can be seen on all of them, the preview option will get activated and one can check the form by generating the preview.
So let's start attaching the documents. So first, let's select the MOA. Then let's select the society certificate. Again here, the society certificate can be attached. Then comes the FCRA certificate. Then comes the old 12A or ATG certificate. Then comes the audit report. And in the any other relevant attachment, we suggest you upload the activity report and specify the name in the box. Click on save to complete this section of the form. So once the tick is there, the green tick is there on all the sections, as you can see on the screen, the preview button will become activated and one can check the form by generating the preview. You will find the entire form will be displayed on the screen as filled by you. After checking the form, you can click on proceed to e-verify. There you can either verify it through a one-time password which will be sent to the mobile number registered on the portal, or you can also verify it with the digital signature of the authorized person. In case of the one-time password, you need to ensure that the mobile number of the authorized person is linked with the Aadhaar. It's clearly mentioned here, OTP on mobile number registered with Aadhaar. The form can also be verified by generating an electronic verification code through internet banking or through bank account or through a Demat account. Such code will be received on the mobile number registered with the banker of the organization at the time of account opening. Only after the e-verification is done, the form shall be considered to be submitted.
So this was all about filling up of Form 10A on the new income tax e-filing portal. I hope I have been able to develop clarity in the registration and re-registration process as mandated by the CBDT notification and Budget 2020 under the relevant sections of the Income Tax Act. For further details, keep tuned to our channel. Don't forget to subscribe and put your notifications on, and for any queries, feel free to comment below or contact us through mail. Thank you.